I'm not too sure if anybody else watches Keynote presentations, or you get an email from a tech company and they're like, hey, make sure you swing by, our channel or our website at this point in time because we're going to have a huge announcement. They send her an email. It's like, boom. And, you get all your gear ready to sit down and take it in. And it's really quite disappointing. Well, DJI sent out a big email last week in regards to their High 5. Now, I like DJI products. I have a bunch of their gimbals, including some of their mirrorless ones, and I have a whole bunch of their drones. So, was super excited to see what was coming out. And got everything ready, of course, because, hey, it must be a fairly big deal that they released or sent out like a big email thing with a, big, hey, come see this. And then I get there a little early, of course, on the YouTube channel, on the YouTubes. And I'm watching all the comments of people speculating what's coming out and what's going to be happening, etc., etc. And basically, it's a minute and a half video of their Osmo Mobile 5. Huge letdown. Yeah, and not that this is the Osmo Mobile 5. That's cool. It's great. It's one of the things that we actually expected was a possibility for this little launch event. What was a disappointment was the fact that it was literally 90 seconds. 90 seconds from start to finish. That was it. If you sit down with a pretty big company, Canon, Nikon, Sony, Apple, of course, you expect that their keynotes are going to be 15, 20 minutes, half hour, an hour, sometimes upward 2 hours while they're talking about their gear and going into specifics and giving you information as to, what's coming up, what's coming out, what made it better than the previous model, etc., etc. This was in my opinion, honestly, just a 90-second fluff piece. It was just people walking around with a gimbal. Yes, the gimbal had a selfie stick built into it. Cool, but that's been done. There's tons of gimbals out there that have selfie sticks. Not a big deal. It showed that it had an LED front-facing light. Cool, nice. Have other companies done stuff like that? Yeah, for sure. Is it supposedly, I think, a little smaller? It is, but still pretty Osmo Mobile size. A little smaller, I get it. But even all that wouldn't have been that big of a letdown if the keynote would have been longer and actually had somebody giving us some information in regards to it to let us know why this was out, why it's a cool product, and why we want it. Because let's kind of admit it right now. A smartphone gimbal right now, in my opinion, kind of a hard sell unless it's got some kind of magic in it. Because if anybody really wants a gimbal for their phone, they probably have one already. And it could be a previous version of the Osmo Mobile, right? This is their 5th reiteration of it. And they all stabilize. That's what they do. They all do tracking. Maybe the new one does it better, but the old ones didn't do it bad. So I don't quite know. If you don't have a gimbal, yeah, sure, buy the new one. Buy whatever's newest on the market. I get that. And we review gimbals here all the time, and they do definitely get better as they progress. But this one didn't really talk about any of that. It just showed it. So not really impressed. And I'm talking a lot about this. But the other thing was watching the comments afterwards. The comments afterwards where people were just like, what was that? It was people just really being quite disappointed because they expected more. They were just like, and this is what I waited for. And it was, 10 o'clock in the morning here, our time. But in other parts of the world, it's 10, maybe 11 o'clock at night. So they stayed up to maybe 12 hours is kind of I don't know how time works, but it could be later. So I don't know. I was disappointed, to say the least. I wanted more than 90 seconds, right? So, and I'm going to get that with Apple's keynote. So Apple officially released or announced, I guess, their keynote event. And their keynote event, it's funny because I am looking here on Apple Insider and it comes out and it says their title, How to Watch Apple's iPhone 13 Launch Event, right? But none of us actually know if this is the iPhone 13. Now, we're predicting, we assume, because everything has pointed that direction, and I would be shocked if it wasn't. But, right, even as it says here, given that Apple's new event is called California Streaming, it's no surprise that you'll be able to watch this. Cool. Apple hasn't even confirmed that its next event, which is California Streaming, will even feature the new iPhone 13. There's an announcement date and some ways to watch it. It'll be out on Tuesday, September 14th, so a week from yesterday, depending on when you're watching this, from 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, so Pacific time. So if you're on where I used to live, Eastern Standard Time, you're looking at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. If you're here with me in the Atlantic area, Atlantic time, you're looking at 2 in the afternoon. But I will guarantee you that'll be a full-blown production. Full-blown production with all the bells and whistles. iPhone is where Apple makes their money. Let's call it as it is. And we'll be showing that thing inside and out to make sure everybody wants it. Building all kinds of excitement for a product that probably a lot of us don't necessarily require because we have a phone that works just fine, but we all will want it. That's kind of the game that they play. And I get it. They're here to make money, right? So, cool. If you do want to find out where you can watch it, head on over to Apple's YouTube page because that's where it's going to be. Just make sure you get the time, not 10 o'clock. What did I even say? 10 o'clock Pacific time on Tuesday, the 14th. Then figure out where you are in the world and adjust accordingly. Or if you have like an Apple TV, they usually will have an events section right as one of the little pieces of software on your Apple TV, and it'll be there. It'll be there. You can watch it there. That's where I'll be watching it. I'll have my popcorn, my coffee. Maybe not popcorn and coffee. That sounds kind of gross, but you get what I'm saying. I will have some snacky foods because I enjoy it. Other than that, really the only real news that we've kind of been seeing a lot, and this is kind of around the board, it's everywhere, is in regards to constraints, right? So if you are someone that's looking at a new piece of tech that's coming out, doesn't really matter what it is, and you're like, I need it, I want it, and I'm guessing the closer we get to holidays, this will become even more important. If you have the money, you may want to get on it because constraints are going to be big this year with all the problems with getting like chipsets and things like that. Because as you get closer to December, let's say, because there's some kind of gift giving thing that happens in December, crazy, you may be sad when you can't get it because they're gone everywhere. So be aware. All right, my friends, I'm going to leave you there. Not a lot of news today, but Apple having their cool keynote coming up on the 14th. I'll be watching it and I'll be letting you know what I think of it or thought of it or something. And DJI's keynote that happened today kind of made me sad. Yeah. All right, guys. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit the little notification bell. And we will see you tomorrow in the AM for another product review and hopefully tomorrow evening for something like this. All right, guys. I'm out. Later.